going on, everybody? That one dude is in the house, and we are back with episode 6 of my podcast, Hot Stories and Cold Ones. And guys, for episode 6, we had to go and get one of the OGs, man. The dude, we were running the podcast for a while, you know what I'm saying? But yo, me and him, we had interest, we took it, and we're rolling with it. But you know I had to bring him back. One of my OGs, Scooter from the Pocket, my brother. How are we doing? Let's go, guys. Let's go. Good-ish. My guy, what's going on? How you doing?
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so used to, running the OBS and all the content and stuff, and I'm really excited to just you know, kind of be in the other position, where I just get to sit back and have a conversation,
Yeah.
and I'm excited.
No, for real. I'm telling you, we here on Hot Stories and Cold Ones, man, listen, it's no stress, it's no planning, it's no extra issue, whatever the case is. This is just, we here, we have a good time, we chat, it's entertaining, we get some good laughs, and we get it rolling. For the viewers out there, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, do what you gotta do. Oh, shoot. There we go. Do what you gotta do 100%. Like, guys, we're rocking and we rolling. So, let's get straight to the episode. So, my dude, Scotty, so we always start with... Am I the asshole? And my dude, this is what we got going on today. So we got, let's get this right. We got, am I the asshole for potentially throwing away a stable future with my passion, and resenting my partner for not supporting me? I, 30 male, have been with my partner, 29 female, for 6 years. When we met, I was upfront. I wanted to eventually pursue a creative career. At the time, she was supportive, but we were also younger. With fewer responsibilities over the years, I stayed in a stable corporate job because it made sense financially, and honestly because I was scared to fail. Now things are different. We've built a life together, shared an apartment, combined finances, talking seriously about marriage and kids. I make significantly more than she does, and my income covers most of our long-term savings. The problem is, I'm miserable. I don't just dislike my job, I feel like I'm losing myself in it. Recently, I was offered a chance to pursue my passion. My passion. Yeah, I was offered a chance to pursue my passion full time. It's not reckless exactly, but it is risky. I'd be making about half of what I do now for at least a couple years, maybe longer. There's no guarantee it will work. My partner is strongly against it. She says it's not just my decision anymore because our lives are intertwined. She's worried about losing financial stability, delaying milestones like buying a house, and the possibility that she'll have to carry more responsibility if things don't work out. She also pointed out that I've started projects before and lost motivation when they got hard, which hurt to hear because it's not entirely wrong, but I also feel resentful. Part of me thinks she fell in love with me. She fell in love with who I could become, not who I am right now. I've supported her through career changes and grad school, both emotionally and financially, and I assumed she'd do the same for me when
Right.
my time came. To complicate things, we both have our flaws. I tend to avoid conflicts until I suddenly drop big decisions on her, which makes her feel blindsided. She tends to focus heavily on worst case scenarios and can be dismissive when something doesn't feel practical to her. We love each other, but lately each conversation turns into a debate about values, security versus fulfillment, planning versus risk, partnership versus individuality. She told me she's not sure she can stay if I take the path because it changes the future she thought we were building. I told her I am not sure I can stay if I feel trapped in a life that makes me unhappy. Now I genuinely don't know who's being unfair. Is this what fighting for a relationship looks like, working through fear and uncertainty together? Or is this one of those moments where love isn't enough if your vision for life doesn't align. Am I the asshole being the male?
So here we have a man who feels trapped, and it sounds like, he doesn't want to do the 9 to 5 stable thing,
Uh
and
huh.
he's really unhappy, and he feels like, he needs to pursue his passion, but
Mm-hmm.
it's going to carry risk.
Exactly.
And it seems like, one thing I will say is, you don't want to delay these sorts of conversations, but he did bring it up ultimately.
Exactly.
But that's just a little something he could have done better, and now he's here, and he feels if he starts to pursue this, he could be throwing away this relationship. Listen, there's nothing worse, in my opinion, I would say, than sitting through that feeling of being trapped, because then you feel like, what are you really staying for?
Like, what are you doing in
If
life? Like, for real. Like,
Yeah, you're just going through the motions, just trying to. And now listen, I think family and like relationships are absolutely number one, and there is sacrifices, and you hear this trope all the time about oh, I gave up my dreams for this,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
you gave up your dreams for this, and it sounds like he's tried before, and maybe he's more mature now, and would be willing to commit. I would say if he pursues this passion and then kind of loses motivation again, he is an asshole.
He is the
Like
asshole.
you
No, I
can't.
agree.
He is the asshole in that case, but I also kind of still respect the attempt. But I won't feel bad for you if she leaves in that case, because ultimately, like, she's depending on you, and you're proving poor decision making and a lack of reliability. But if he's trying and he's truly doing his best, and he never loses motivation, and he's pursuing his passion, and it doesn't go so well the first 2 years or so, but he's trying, and things just aren't shaking out for him, and she ends up leaving, no, you're definitely not an asshole for trying to escape unhappiness,
Uh huh.
because nothing's worse than wishing you were alone, when you are with someone, because at least when you are alone, you have the opportunity to seek a new partner
Yeah.
and continue to pursue your passion. So I think it kind of depends on how he executes. And I'll give him some faith and say, no, you're not an asshole yet. You got to follow through
I
though.
do say the little dig that she threw, right? About,
Mhm.
oh, you don't seem to be consistent in the projects that you be doing. Do you feel as if, in terms of projects and career choices, that was a fair statement to make? Do you feel like that was a little bit of an unnecessary dig? Because listen, I will say, right, like, as a man, I think your woman, right, like, while of course you look for honesty and you look for sometimes like transparency, things like this, it's like, I feel like as a guy, like, we already think to ourselves, like, this might fucking fail, like, this might
Yeah.
go sideways. And so when our partner goes and says, like, yo, listen, I ain't gonna lie to you, you really don't be completing shit, that don't really resonate well. Do you agree? Or you feel like
What
sometimes you
what
need that?
was the exact quote? What did she say exactly in the
In
post?
the post, let me try to find this again. So she said, word for word, band for band. Right here. I've started projects before and lost motivation when they got hard, which hurt to hear, because it's not entirely wrong.
Well, to be honest, I don't think it's. I think this is what the female partner is there for. Men, as much as we are capable of so much. Also, we take quite often the path of least resistance because of that, because we're really just focused on that passion. So with all these other things, but even then, if you can't even be motivated to pursue what you're calling your passion, I think you absolutely deserve to get called out for that, especially if
Well, it
someone
wasn't
else, if
passion.
you're
It was just
responsible for
projects,
someone
like
else.
projects that he did on his own. I assume probably like around the house, or like projects
Yeah.
that his wife may have asked him to do.
And that I would say even doubles it down. If you can't say, fix the shed, right?
Yes.
Say the shed's falling apart, and you say you're going to rebuild the shed, and then the shed never gets rebuilt. How the hell is the woman supposed to believe you when you say, you want to say be this rich entrepreneur?
Yes.
There are far more obstacles in the way, and there's far more competition in the way of becoming that successful version of yourself than there is to fix a shed, or to finish a project around the house, or to say you wanted to do this. And it's part of being a man. It is a true challenge. It's not easy. No one's saying it's an easy thing to do and you deserve credit for trying, but you also need to be realistic with yourself if you haven't, stuck to it. Or you gotta say, this is when I change.
Yes.
You gotta grow. You gotta grow up and be a man of your word. Because I think that's what will keep a woman around, when you're a man of your word, and you really are who you say you are, and you're genuinely committed to what you say you're gonna do.
Okay. Okay. And that's what's kind of interesting to that, right? That's where the first kind of question is where I'm going to go with this. And the first question, Scooter, is should you follow your passion over over chasing stability? Should you go and want to shoot for your dreams even though they might seem astronomically crazy? Because I know there's a saying, right? Like, your job shouldn't feel like a job. It should feel like your passion, your love, your enjoyment. But like, let's be for real here, right? Like, in this day and age, it's almost like the passion is kind of similar to this, right? The social media, the being able to get your opinions out there, talk. That's some people's passion. You know what I mean, some people go, they love the hands-on stuff, the DIYs. Christian, when I had him on here, his passion was the car stuff. But it's like, there's things like that. Nobody's got a strong passion for being shift supervisor at Walgreens. Like, nobody's
Yeah.
got those kind of passions and things like that. But it's like there's jobs. Like, those are the jobs that we have that, in my opinion, I look at them as stepping stones. So, Scotty, like, in your opinion, what is the answer to that question?
The answer, in my opinion, is 100%. I mean, there's a little bit of relativity to it. Like, you gotta be able to, support yourself to a degree, but you should 100% pursue your passion over stability. The reason for that, and there's a great quote that goes along with it too. I'm pretty sure Jim Carrey said it, and I might butcher it a little bit, but it's you could even fail at something that you don't want to do, trying to do that. So you might as well take a chance and potentially fail at something you love to do. And I think what happens here is people look for, they see the stability, it looks good. I'll have a safe life and I'll be able to do this. But if you're unhappy, you're really not winning. And in the end, one day you're going to wake up and realize that you regret a lot of choosing for that stability. All of my favorite decisions I've made in my life have been related to taking a risk. Going back to when I decided to wrestle before I was going to play college football, I had every reason not to. I could have jeopardized my career, but I felt in my heart that I had to go back and try again. There was only one person I asked in my entire life, and I asked dozens and dozens of people who told me I should do it because my heart was there. And I remember by the end of that season, I was healthy, and it was it was one of the greatest feelings of my life. And then trying YouTube and social media, huge risk, huge consumption of time, and a little nerve wracking, but I'm so happy I started doing it, and I think it goes for your career too. You should take risks, because stability is I don't think it's obviously you need to you don't want to end up on the street, but
Yeah.
but you want to be fulfilled, and fulfillment doesn't just show up at the doorstep. You have to go get that, and I think that's how you do it.
Okay, okay, and I guess there's a little bit of a twist to it because I feel like, for example, right, and this is where I say like knowing each other, right? We have always
Yeah.
worked to the point of exhaustion that like our body is thoroughly like at 1%, 90% of the time. You know what I mean? And I feel like in terms of chasing for that passion, because you need stability, you need to be able to make money to
Yeah.
provide for the passions that you have. And I guess
Yes.
like, have you ever wondered to yourself and thought to yourself like, when is it that you have those moments for your body to like heal, to your body to like rejuvenate and things like that? Because I know like recently, like I've been getting into the passion of like reading, and you know me, when the fuck did I read
Yes.
back in the day? I never read, but read it, but I never read back in the day. But it's like finding that passion, you know what I'm saying, taking care of myself, going back into the gym, trying to lose the weight, doing all this stuff like. I feel like when it comes to the all people look at is, oh my God, he got a Lambo. I need to start this today. They do this for 3 days and they get triggered because it's like, why didn't I get to the Lambo? The people start trading They lost like $100. They put $100 up. They lost $100 just like that. Oh my
Yeah.
God, this isn't meant for me. It's just like they're gonna go through the hiccups. And I saw you had a video come out about your first 500 and something days on YouTube.
Yeah.
And like, I guess to me, right? Like give me a little bit of a thought. Like what did you do to like mentally like keep yourself sane? Because I'm assuming you had critics, you know what I'm saying? I'm assuming you had people come up and be like, why are you still doing this shit? Like all that stuff. Like
Yeah.
what went through your mind? What made you get over those hurdles and all those humps and all that shit? Like what got you there?
So I feel like it starts with when you tell people you're pursuing whatever it is, and you're telling your family members and your friends, and it feels like you're not being taken seriously. Oh, this will
For
fizzle
sure.
out, and you can just see it behind their eyes, and they're not saying it to you, but you feel that, and it's discouraging. But in that case, those are the cases where I think back to, like I said about the wrestling thing. It only took one person to tell me I should follow my heart for me to say, okay, that's enough for me. There's one person out there supporting my decision to do this. So the one thing is you can lean back on that. But I would also say yes, there's critics, but you should never care. You should never care. I mean, if your quality of your content is suffering, like you need to be willing to take feedback. And there's a difference between being criticized and having constructive criticism. So knowing the difference between those things and recognizing when someone's really trying to guide you rather than attack you. So being able to discern those two things. And then I would say paying attention to yourself is something that I put on the back burner in my first year on YouTube. Eventually, over the summer, when I was releasing what was my most successful content, I actually passed out twice from dehydration, lack of sleep. It was like, I even saw a cardiologist, and they were like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with you. But I kind of told myself, you know what? This is another part of this is you can't just put your nose to the grindstone forever. You'll get results, but the other side of the risk coin is you can get hurt, you know? So being able to kind of reevaluate, and what I did this year was I said, okay, I need to streamline my process so I can so I can sleep and take care of myself, because eventually I'm going to run out of energy.
Yeah.
I'm a human being. So being able to reevaluate yourself and the things you can do better, hash through the haters and the actual constructive feedback, and then kind of just ignoring when you feel like people don't believe in you, because as we mentioned before, a lot of people want to start things and then they get into it and then they lose motivation. So on a way, like, those people who are doubting you have seen many people talk like you before, and I'm not saying they're right to kind of have that thing behind their eyes that is kind of doubting you, but you need to just ignore that and just say, hey, that's cool. If I'm really gonna do this and it's gonna work, I'm gonna prove you wrong, so I'll just wait for that.
Okay.
So that's kind of how I forget what the question was, but I feel like I answered it.
No, that was yeah, no, you answered it, bro. 100%, 100%. That was on the money. That's exactly what I was looking for. Because at the end of the day, right, like, we do this because we enjoy it, and you definitely, for sure, you know what I'm saying. I've definitely gotten the calls about like, hey, yo, you know what I'm saying, like, how you gonna make extra money? How you gonna do this? How you gonna do that? You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying. This isn't paying nothing. This ain't doing nothing. But it's like it's my investment in my time. You know what I mean. And it's like, while I have other investments everywhere, and I have my other hobbies that I try to tend to and everything like that, it's like this is the amount of time that I enjoy putting into this. And that's why I wanted to ask you, because you have stuck to the grind. You've dedicated it to it, you know what I mean? And it's like that kind of consistency. One, it's a rare thing, you know what I mean? Of course, I always applauded you for that and loved you for that. But it's also the how do I say, the one of the rare things that I feel like people never truly hear. I feel like you go out, right, to social media and you hear people try to give advice, and I feel like genuinely, right, like, if it's not those like actors that have already made it, they've already dedicated themselves, they have nothing to lose by giving you this information. But like everywhere else being like 5 tips on how to become famous, 5 tips on how to do this, 5 tips.
Right.
It's like it feels like to me false shit. fake
Yeah.
news. And it's like, it's basically stuff to make you want to eat it, go with it, and then you get stuck at a dead end over and over and over again. And that's what I want this channel to be. Something where it's like, we're genuinely here to help you. We ain't there yet, but we're
Yeah.
going to get there. And anybody that wants to join us, we rock it, we keep it going. But that's where we're going to go and hop in to the next question. Surprisingly, it kind of jumped into, and one of the things that gets me, right, is we always try to find good people in our lives, and we always try to
Yeah.
find the right people in our lives. And the question goes like this: what are red flags that people always tend to ignore?
Red flags that people always tend to ignore. I would say one is in their friends. Specifically when their friends don't want to be great and don't want to be better and the best version of themselves because we all have friends and we love them and we love spending time with them and they might even support you, but there's a good quote about don't take advice from anyone who isn't where you want to be. There's a couple people that you and I went to school with who are where we want to be, and I will listen to them, even if I don't have a close relationship with them, before many other people that I'm close with because they've done it. And I think, discerning the difference between, friends that you love and, people that are doing the things that you kind of want to do. It kind of feels like, I'm still young. I'm still 25. I'm still friends with pretty much everyone I was friends with for a long time. But it feels like slowly over time, the world kind of gets at those friends. And it kind of drags them down and they might have a negative mindset. And it could be a partner too. It could be a partner as well. It could even be your own family that don't want to be the best version of themselves and are willing to hold themselves accountable and be critical of themselves. I think people who always have an excuse and I've even been a little cynical recently, but people who just don't have anything good to say. People who are just the first thing that they want to do is just hate and joke and point and laugh. It's just that sort of thing where I'm like, eventually you're going to be the one getting pointed at and laughed at when you don't make it. So I think that's a red flag that people they tend to give their friends a free pass on, and it's a tough thing to see and tough pill to swallow.
So for me, because I saw to go off your red flag, I saw an interesting quote actually when I was going through Instagram, and I saw it was like a motivational page or whatever, and it was like, if you hang with 4 smokers, you're gonna become the 5th. If you're gonna be hanging with 5 drinkers, you're gonna become the 5th. If you hang with 4 goal setters that meet their goals, you're gonna become the 5th. If you work and hang with 4 power lifters, you're gonna become the 5th. And it's like those who you decide to always hang around with is always like a big thing, you know what I mean? And it's crazy because I know my girls told me like, babe, like look at who you used to hang with and everything like that. You even talked to me about it from back in the day when we would be at college with each other, and my vocabulary and how I speak and how I elaborate and enunciate my words and everything. And you used to go and tell me like, Danny, the only reason why I understand you is because I live with you. Like, if I didn't know you and you were Joe Smo from the freaking street, I wouldn't understand anything you were saying. Like, Danny, we're in college. Let's use like bigger words. You always try to go and make me better. I always loved you for that reason. You know what I mean? And that's kind of where it was one of those things where I don't think people have that kind of recognition. I feel like people always look for like the hype squad to be like, oh, they just tell me I do good 24/7, and then the moment they give me criticism, the moment they tell me, oh, you're not looking the best, the moment they tell me, oh, you're not where you need to be, like I ditch them because I'm like, how dare you disrespect me? Which went into my second red flag. And one of the other red flags that I think really that no one wants to pay attention to, but I always look for it in people, and it's always like the multi-personality people. What I mean by that is like everybody,
code switchers.
yes, those who like to switch depending on the situation. Just because you go and hang out with those kind of people, you're just like, oh yeah, 100%. I do that and I do this and I do. It's like,
Yeah.
I like those are the things that I'm like, I can't. The chameleon. I think what would you call it back in the day?
it is a chameleon, and there's a distinction between people who are flexible and people who are like trying to gain something out of doing that.
I agree.
You
I,
know,
and that's where it just gets me, because to me, we'll be in this setting, right? We'll be doing what we got to do. That's why I always said, like, when we make it, when we get there, that circle that I have when we're having a great time, when we get the house, when we get what we got to get to and stuff, like, there is only those select few people that I always pay attention to, those chameleons, I guess, because when it goes down to the stretch, you know what I'm saying? Like, you could probably go straight up to them and be like, yo, pull up my YouTube channel. Let's see how many episodes, let me see how many episodes you liked. And you're gonna see
yeah,
none of them shits like. They might not even be subscribed personally. And that's where it's like, those are the people in your life that you really gotta look for and look at to be like, are you here leeching, or are you actually like here for real? Like, if you talk to them one on one, can you sit there and have those conversations? How many of those
yeah,
2, 3 a.m. conversations have we had that you had to kick me out of your room because we talked for too damn fucking long? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
how many of them shits that we have back in the day? And that's what I mean. Like,
countless.
exactly, fucking countless. And that's what I mean. Those people that are just like, oh, I'm just here for the good times, not the times where you're thinking to yourself hard, is this shit worth it? You're thinking to yourself, oh my god, like, am I here for it? But those are like those kind of red flags. And then let's take a little bit of a spin, because it is February. You know what I'm saying? This is supposed to be the month of love and all that shit in between. So what are red flags you feel like people have a hard time wanting to realize in partners?
This could go so many
So many
directions,
different directions.
and I think there's obviously so many, especially because the dynamic between a man and a woman in a relationship, which is what we're talking about, is it's super complicated, and there's red flags in men and there's red flags in women.
Okay.
I think we already kind of talked about the ones with men. It's to me, it's mostly just, are you a man of your word, and do you stay motivated? Do you try? Are you giving it your best? And is your heart where you say it
Or
is?
do you take the easy way out?
Do you take the easy way out? Are you complacent? Are you someone who's easily complacent, or do you get angry when things don't go your way and you want to work even harder?
Mm-hmm.
But for women, I think it's a lot more complicated. I think one big one is when a man is vulnerable to a woman, and then the woman uses that against them. That is like the opposite of wife material,
Yeah,
because
yeah, yo,
that
yo, yo,
will
yo.
that will destroy a man, really, or tremendously hold him back, because um and some people would even argue, for this reason, you shouldn't even be vulnerable with like your woman, and it should be with like your friends or whatever. But you could use this argument with anyone. It could even be your parents. This is just about narcissism. And if someone is willing to take something that you are vulnerable with them about, and then they're willing to throw it in your face, say when you're at your low, or
And
to
an
doubt
argument to get
you,
out of it.
or as an argument to avoid accountability for themselves, that is probably one of the biggest red flags I think there are in women. And I think, because you want a woman who is, number one, like, accountable for herself, just like you're expected to be. That you're expected to hold up standards from a fitness and a financial and a personality standpoint. It literally is the same thing for women. And um, they got to be accountable, and they can't throw stuff back in your face. And I'd say, honestly, that's a very, I would say those two are very broad and kind of cover like a lot of the red flags in like partners. Like I said, for the men I talked about, and then for the women, it's, you got to be accountable. Because honestly, if you're not that nice, I can get over that if you're willing to admit it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, when it's occurring, like, I just want, and honesty, I guess, would be my third one. Complete transparency, because she's secure in who she is, and she doesn't feel like a need to justify or avoid the accountability. Like, she's just like, this is who I am, and if you're not interested in that, then we can go our separate ways. You'd stop and think, if it's all relative, but I think those are pretty broad and kind of cover a lot of it.
Okay. And I guess my the red flags that it's kind of similar to yours, but there's a little bit of a different nuance to it. The one thing that gets me with, and I'll start with women first because I'll go after men last because you know we can't just dig at one side. So
Yeah.
for me, when it comes to the women's side of it, I think what really always irritated me is the leniency because of the difference in gender. I think that's what has always got me. Let me explain more what I mean by that. It's
Yeah.
like, for example, the concept of like, oh, like I may need to love you more. I may need to do this more. I may need to do that more, whatever the case is. And it's like it always kind of has to stay at this kind of like this kind of separation of who needs to do what and who needs to accomplish what and who needs to like perform what actions or whatever the case is. And I think the reason why I say that it's because if that precedent is set off rip, it's like she's only gonna meet you at what you do. When I feel like the love that you're looking for your partner, it's like it should come natural. It's like what they do for you, no matter how high, no matter how big. It's not a tit for tat thing. It's not for, oh, we're gonna meet at this level. So if I'm at 50, you need to be at an 80 24/7. And if I drop down to a 50 or a 30, you could maybe go down to a 60 and then we call it a day. It's like
I think I kind of know what you mean, and if you don't mind, I actually kind of thought of one that I feel like I didn't say.
give me one.
When the way a man or woman treats the other person, but I would say this actually probably applies more to the women. The way a woman treats her man depending on where he is in life. If
Bro.
she treats him differently because he's down low, that is, you are not wife material. If you and it's, well, you don't love that guy is what it really is. Maybe you are wife material because you can't be a wife for someone you don't love. So I'll be fair and say that. But if you are changing the way you behave towards someone because he's in a bad spot, or you're gassing him up more than you ever have because he's amazing, rather than just kind of celebrating, there is a difference there.
Yep.
That's, you know, she should see you as you, no matter where you are in life, whether you're both homeless or whether you're both, living in a mansion. Her eyes should look at your eyes the same way always, and that's all. I think that's honestly all a man really wants. And then for a woman, it's for her to be appreciated for that by the man, and for the man to really do his best and be motivated by that um, to not take that for granted. That's a huge red flag in men. I have a big problem with men who take things for granted and aren't appreciative. So it's kind of the thing I wanted to throw in there that I feel like
No,
maybe
no,
I
no,
didn't
and
quite
that's
hit
that's
on.
exactly the I guess you could say the dig that I was gonna have with men is like the concept of like taking the easy route. It's like because your girl argues with you, has a problem with you, whatever the case is, and like I seen like you see dudes that are just like, oh, you think I'm going to take that disrespect, and it's like they wear their balls on their sleeve, you know what I'm saying, and then we'll
Hmm.
go out with them, and then they're just like, oh, some shorty gives them like 3 seconds of attention of like, oh damn, you look fine, and it's because you're frustrated on the inside not wanting to like, you know what? Maybe I need to go and talk to her and get this over with. Because in reality, if you left the crib and she sucked you dry, you're not gonna go to the bar feeling some kind of way. You're gonna go to the bar and that same girl talks to you. You're gonna go and be like, yo, I'm straight, like I'm good, like I ain't trying to mac with you. But because of frustrations in your life, I feel like men try to find like the very like easy. What's the easy
Path
like
of least resistance,
no, not least resistance. The easy cope, like easy
instant
sam
gratification.
instant gratification, samples of
Yeah,
dopamine, shit like that. Like
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
that's
right.
what we try to find and shit like that. And that's one that I feel like the biggest red flags in men is the concept of sticking like when you're in the mud and you really freaking have to grind. Like I feel like a lot of guys now, not like maybe not back then, but like now, they're just like, I'm just gonna take the easy way out. I'm just gonna find path of least resistance, quick
Yeah.
moments of happiness to because why am I gonna want to feel sad
People who
or
are
stressed?
very easy to flatter are like this too. Men
Yes,
and women. Men
yes.
who can't kind of, give a cold shoulder to a girl who tries flirting with them when they're in a relationship. You're too easy to flatter. And if you're a woman and, obviously they get more attention from more men, and they're kind of all about it even though they're in a relationship, that's not a good thing either. And whether it's like you just broke up with that person, and you're kind of like, I need a quick fix, it's like, well, it sounds like you weren't really that in love with that other person. You kind of should be like a little hurt by what happened. So that's
So
also a bad thing, and
so
that's instant gratification is a huge thing nowadays.
And let me be so this is one of the things that and I just thought about this right now because definitely right this hits me and I'm curious with you. A red flag I've always seen with girls is like if you are dating somebody, and I feel like when you go out to the club when you're about to go hang out, right? One, it's like you going solo dolo without me. It's like I don't know how I'm feeling about that. But on the other hand, if you going without me and you got the yitties out, you got the dress up the freaking up the half the thigh line and the hoo
Yeah.
ha basically screaming with the music, like you got me fucked up. And I genuinely think, right, and this is just genuinely, like, I think it's a tremendous red flag if you do not have consideration to like ask, show your man your outfit, talk to your man about like what you like are planning to wear. I think that's crazy work. Because at the end of the day, right, it's just like you're saying you're mine, right? I'm not a chick. I'm not gonna go and walk around short shorts with my dangalang swinging out. No, I'm not gonna go and do
No.
that, right? Because that's not what society accepts. Well, you know what society accepts? Girls going out with all their ish basically hanging out.
Yeah.
And you got me jacked up. I think that's a crazy red flag that I feel
I
like
mean, to
everybody
be
accepts
honest,
nowadays.
some people are comfortable with that,
Of
and
course, I agree.
some people I'm sure have a wonderful marriage and went through that. But are you telling me when she's a mom she's still gonna be doing that? You know what I mean? Like, to me, the whole concept. I think this is probably the biggest fraudulent thing about female culture right now is this idea that you can be in a relationship and then go to the market. You know what I mean? That is where you're supposed to that's where a lot of people expect to find partners. And if you're not there with your man, like if you both are comfortable with it, in my opinion, you both should be there. Wouldn't you want to be with your partner like before anyone else? The idea of, oh, I want to get away from my partner to be with my friends and I'm going to go to the sexual marketplace for the opposite gender. It's like, no, you're just kind of lying to yourself, in my opinion, because you're quite literally putting on, like you said, all of the, I'm for sale. And that probably sounded terrible, but it's true. It really is. It's really true. And
Yeah.
I'm 25, so like if a girl's still kind of in that mindset of, hey, maybe some of her friends just graduated college and like
They're
I
trying to
can
go
get by.
out, girls now and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I can get by it now, but what in 5 years, I want to be like going with like another group of friends and like we're going to a bit more of a I'm going there to hang out with my friends. I'm not and I got nothing against like partying and dancing, but to me it's a bit more of like that's where you're going to like be with people. You should be comfortable enough at the point when you're 30 to kind of do it with just your own friends, whether
Exactly.
it's a house party, a brewery, or whatever it is. So my whole kind of point is if you're a woman and you have that mindset, I would heavily encourage you to find an actual passion and pursue that. And by the time you're 30 to do that, because
Bro, you
I
should be
don't
going to
know a lot.
wineries. You should be going to
Yes,
breweries and just
wineries and like
hanging,
all these
bro.
nice things. Right. I'm totally okay with that. It's a completely different setting. There's a reason men don't give a shit when their wives go to wineries with their girlfriends, because that's where they go to chat and hang out with each other. They're not flaunting themselves,
For real. The
and
husbands just go,
and
they drop them off. They do the thing. They do the thing, you know what I'm saying? The husbands
and what
maybe
and what
meet
do
there
men like to
earlier.
do?
And yo,
I,
we'll
I would
put,
say the same thing for men.
yo,
I'm
for real.
going to watch football with the boys. You
Literally.
know, I'm not going to the club to scope out. You know, so yeah,
Because
I think
I get with
that's
you. Because I'm not
yeah.
lying. That's what has gotten me, right? It's like you go and you talking to somebody and then they're like, oh, bro, I'm like, I don't know, like 34, 35, and they still clubbing and doing all that stuff, bro. Get the freak out, bro. Like, I'm out.
Yeah,
Deuces. Like,
yeah.
like,
Like a relationship should be more than enough for you if it's the right one. And if it's
100%.
not the right one, break up with that person and then go to the club and try to find a new one.
Do you
You
feel
know?
like, because one of the things, right? Like, I've been going to church a lot more, and right, like, and one thing I've learned from that, it's like you want to find somebody that like meets with you and you're good with and you can mesh with and it's the right environment. The club don't feel like the right environment. One, because you can go and meet a girl, right? You meet your woman and you meet her doing that, right? Wearing those kind of clothes. And she can look at you
Yeah.
and be like, you met me like this. So what are you talking about? And it's just like, cool, I met you like that, but life changes. I grow up.
Yeah.
We both change. It's just a different lifestyle.
It's like it served its purpose because I met you, I don't want our entire life to consist of you being a walking billboard, you
Yo.
know? Like it's and you know, men and women have these funny way of saying things like, "Well, you met me like this." Just because you say something with an attitude doesn't make it true.
Yeah.
You know, doesn't make it make any more sense.
Oh,
I feel
for
like
real.
men and women do that a lot, and it sounds dumb. They boil things down. It's a lot more complicated, like this conversation we're having.
Easy, easy. Okay, okay, okay. So, back to that am I the asshole? So, one of the other questions that I had from that is what is something that you feel like people may romanticize over in a relationship that in reality hurts them at the end?
It's people, men and women, are they have this idea of the perfect person, you know, who my husband's gonna be this and this and this, and a man's like, you know, oh my wife is gonna be like this and she's gonna do all these things for me, and they completely lose sight of the fact that
Bro,
it's a
yeah.
human being, you know, it's a human being who's not gonna be perfect at all, and I think they feel like the if they have a perfect relation with if they're with their perfect man, then they themselves are going to behave perfect. They're going to have nothing bad to say to the other one, and that there will never be a situation where they have to forgive each other. And there's varying degrees of things you need to forgive each other for, and if you can't, then that's when you're supposed to separate. Um, but being able to go into a relationship with the idea of I may need to eventually forgive this person for maybe lashing out at me or making a mistake, or I may need to break up with them because I can't forgive them for something is something people need to be. Um, they romanticize the idea that everything's just going to be perfect. I promise you, there's not going to be a thing in your life that is perfect. You could even become rich and famous. You even hear these people talk about it. You know, they still got problems. They still have family members who are hurting. And honestly, it seems like, you know, absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
That's something we learned in school and something that seems very apparent nowadays. And so just no matter what, you're going to face adversity. And going into anything with the concept that if I just have this, it's going to be right. No, it's going to be hard if you're with the right person because you're going to have such a high expectation of them. They're going to screw up and then you're going to have to forgive them, you know, because you're going to have to see the value that, you know, being with this person for a lifetime is worth way more than holding a grudge over maybe one of their imperfections.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's very, very romanticized idea, super unrealistic, not fair to either person.
100%. Because nobody's perfect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody is gonna make a mistake at some point, and it's like it's depending, of course, on the scale of the
Yeah.
mistake that's being made and everything like that. You know what I mean? But it's also dependent on the understanding and the care that somebody may have, like for that person. You know what I mean? Because
Hmm.
at the end, like unlike like overall, how I'm looking at it is whether somebody gets drunk, right? And these are just random ass things that just top out of my head.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody gets drunk and they say some wild shit to you or
Yeah.
whatever the case was, disrespect you in front of people. They go and freaking I don't even know, like go and oh they pissed on your freaking carpet by accident because they were too drunk, or they threw up on you on your nice shirt or
Hmm.
something like that, like random shit like that. Some people, if you go and you get lit up about that, you know that's not the person for you, bro,
Yeah. Or they
because
lie.
you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, like that person that's supposed to be your forever, you might get pregnant with that person might get pregnant, bro. You know what I'm saying? They might get old and accidentally shit the bed. You know what I'm saying? They might not, they might get arthritis and you might have to rub their feet even though you got arthritis. Like it's shit like that that I think
Yeah.
people don't understand, that it's like, okay, if you are 10 toes about me, like really, really for real, like small things that you're gonna have that are imperfections. It's like the big things are what matter. It's like, am I gonna go really and be like, I can't be with this person no more because they threw up on my shirt or did something like that or whatever, like destroy, like crash my car, hit whatever the case is. But when I was down bad in college and they went and dropped however much money to get me food, to do this, to do that. When
Yeah.
we were playing sports and yo, you get back rubs and you be chilling and hanging and they look out
Yeah.
for you when it matters the most and shit like the freak. And I think that's what people don't understand, right? It's like the most minute, um, what's the word I'm looking for? Um, Annoyance, but there's a bigger word for it. Like annoyance. People just are like, oh, you know what? I can't do this. Somebody else is probably
Hmm.
gonna get something, but they don't
Ick.
believe. They don't realize the honeymoon phase is a thing, and once that
Yeah.
shit's gone, it's real. Like
Yeah.
it's 4 phases to a relationship. I learned the
Okay.
honeymoon, the which is like 0 to 3 months, 0 to 5 months
Yeah.
maybe. You know what I'm
Somewhere
saying?
around there.
Then you got the calm stage, the calmness before the storm. Of
Yeah.
like, you know what, this is going cool. Let's talk about. You start talking about where you're trying to go in life and
Values.
the values, the morals. What's your 5 year plan? All that shit in between, and then wham, the storm comes, and that's what I'm talking about: arguments and problems and disagreements, family
Doubt.
problems, doubt, stressing, questioning what they're thinking. The real test. And guess what, chat? A lot of people fail with that shit, man. And
Yeah.
it's like that, you know what I mean? And that's where it's like, once you get there, you're gonna get there and you're gonna rock with it. And I guess Scooter, like for real, like this is always just pondered to me. This is just always pondered to me in my mind. It's what is it like between both people, right? Like it's really hard to go and be like, is that person right there? What do you feel like in stage 3? Always it's just the final like it's the final blow oftentimes that you've seen, because I'm assuming you've
That
seen
messes
many.
something up.
Yeah, that like you've seen, like I know you've probably seen all your boys and like all of our boys and everything, like they always get out of it and they're out of the relationship, and it's like, what is it, stage 3, what is it that gives you that final, that breaks it off?
I think it's the idea that the next stage is forever. And the next stage is commitment, is getting a ring and getting married and all that kind of stuff. And all the questions you have are really uncertain for the most part, because you're thinking this person could maybe change into the person that you're idealizing, but you're worried that maybe this is just who they are, and that's really what it is most of the time. Is that you had this idea going in, you spent phase 2 learning about who they are, and then phase 3 is contemplating if that's who you thought it was.
Mm-hmm.
When you first, for the very first time, said you love this person,
Mm-hmm.
it's probably not actually you that they love the first time they say it. It's the person that they think you are, because 3 months is not enough time to know, even in a relationship,
You see a
everything
lot of
about
skeletons
someone.
in that closet.
Right. And I think, also with phase 3, you deal with what's really the most important part of a relationship, which
Mm-hmm.
I think Jordan Peterson described as the 80% of your day.
Mm-hmm.
What's 80% of your day? It's not when you go out and you guys go on vacation. It's not when you do the big extravagant stuff. It's you wake up next to each other. What's the energy?
Mm-hmm.
You go make coffee with each other, in the quiet kitchen, or maybe you two love talking, and then you go to work. It's not the birthday party, it's not the anniversary. It's the how do you really spend most of your time together? And I think a lot of people, whether they realize it or not, it's the effect that has on you over time will convince you whether this is the right person or not. And they might say it's for one reason or another, but they eventually come to the conclusion. Or you can misinterpret it sometimes. You could just be wrong.
True.
you know you might be throwing away something that's actually your best option or your soulmate or whatever. But I think a lot of
Best
people,
option is funny.
yeah. Yeah. um, it's it's just like that's such a there's information overload. I think some people get overwhelmed. Some people do actually confidently come to the conclusion that they don't want to commit to it, and then you kind of there's a couple different ways you can get to it, but it's just everything is out in the open at that point. And I think
For sure.
you know that's what causes people to fail there, because that makes sense. You start a relationship. I don't know a whole lot of relationships that end in a week. I don't know a whole lot that end in 3 months,
Mm-hmm.
but they start at 3 months is when
Mm-hmm.
they, 3 months I think is the shortest one I've ever seen. So maybe even shorter, but you get what I'm saying.
I
Like
do.
you're not going to start dating someone and then just learn and 2 weeks that this is not the person, because you must be very gullible if that's the
If that's the
case.
case, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, so that, I know that was kind of a long answer, but what do you think is the thing about stage three that gets people? Is it that, or is it something else?
So I will agree, right? And that's where it's saying, like, in the relationship I'm currently in now, it's like that was one of the reasons for me that did that. It's the commitment stage. It's that understanding, like, oh my God, is this for real the person for me? Is this
Yes,
for
that question.
real what it is? Like, is this where I'm supposed to be? Am I about to get trapped? Am I not seeing something?
Right.
Like,
It's fear.
and it's that fear, 100%. The other caveat that I think it is, it's you wondering, or the in stage three, when it gets to a fighting point that you're really fighting, in your mind, people may think, is the grass greener on the other side?
There's that too. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And
It
that's
could
what
not
my
just,
thought is. It's just kind of just like,
yeah.
is there better
Can
than
I do
this?
better?
Yeah, can I do better? You know what I'm saying? And yo,
Yeah.
sometimes it pans out, sometimes it don't. And
Yeah.
it gets hard for sure. But and to go off of that as well, I also feel as if it's in stage three, a lot of emotions get stirred, and I feel like when you say certain things, especially how we said beforehand, like um, a lot of things, especially to your partner. And I'm going from your as a woman saying this to a man, like there's things that you may say to your partner, and yo, it'll never leave his mind. It will
Yeah.
stick in the back of his mind, like that's what she feels about me, and that may build up enough. Because listen, like they say all the time, girls work emotionally, guys work logically, and logically speaking, nothing leaves my mind, and that goes for a lot of dudes too. Nothing will go and like just dip out of your mind. I remember you
Like
said it
forgive but don't forget kind of thing.
exactly. Like, all right, I forgive you this time, but yo, you deal with like a year of constant name calling, disrespect, dumb shit, or like on some wild shit, or like, or just as you're going to, as you said beforehand, you're arguing, and then personal shit gets shot at you.
Yeah.
You never gonna forget. You never gonna leave that in your
No.
mind. You never gonna forget, but it's gonna
No.
sit there. You got about three of those, and then when that third one hits, you're just like, she don't respect me as a motherfucker. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's it.
I
It said
think,
you basically killed me. That's basically what you did. Like,
yeah, and I think it can happen the other way too,
I
for
agree.
sure.
I agree.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm
Like
just saying, like,
if
of
like
course, for us, like,
a
I know how it
woman,
works for us. I don't know how it works for a girl. When a guy, like, if I
I
said something so out of pocket to her, she, like, while that might be a pistol shot to my face, that's a straight triple barrel shotgun straight to,
I
like,
I do think I know what it is, and I think it kind of comes in two forms. One is, women are, they want to feel beautiful. They kind of have an ego when it comes to that, whether it's innocent or not. They have an ego about, how beautiful they are, and a typical trope with men is, wandering eyes and that sort of thing. And when you are unable to contain that for them, that hurts them and they don't forget that sort of thing. And then it's also when they don't feel appreciated for those things that I was talking about earlier, about they're supposed to be showing up and always looking at you the same no matter where you are. If you don't appreciate them doing that for you, they should leave you. They absolutely should leave you, because that is not a grateful man. And if you deserve a great wife, that's because you're a grateful man, not because you're a great man who's super successful, but because you are grateful. I think good women can see that. I think that percentage is dwindling slightly in society. And I think the percentage of really grateful men is dwindling as well. But yeah, I think you cannot let a day go by where your woman doesn't feel appreciated if she deserves it. If she doesn't deserve it, then leave her.
yeah.
Find one who you can appreciate the things that she does. And I think understanding that is key for both sides. Is appreciate the woman and support the man. And honestly, that just seems like, at least in my 25 years of life, I guess what I've learned is that that's at least what the man's gotta do. You can never be ungrateful. It's one of the most unattractive. There's nothing good about it. It's cocky, and honestly, it signals a potential face plant, in my opinion. So
Bro, I'm not even gonna lie. Last episode, we were just talking about the whole prenup stuff. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, it went,
Hmm.
and we were going into that for sure, and
Oh, that's a tough one.
that was and it was with Joe G too. That shit was funny as hell. But like, um, overall, like
It's a
no,
real
to your,
tough one.
I'm telling you, it's an uncomfortable thing, but that's what we hear. You know what I'm saying? This is I love this because we get to go and just chat about whatever,
Yeah.
and it's like we're respectful. We're not like it's always. It stays here. It's good. The viewers watching and everything, but it's like there's no animosity. Like I want to bring that back. The concept that you could talk about whatever. We have had so many of those conversations where it's like,
Yeah.
if you had somebody that wasn't me, but same culture, same everything, but they would have probably fought you. Like, and it's like, but we don't. Like, I'm like, okay, I can hear where you're coming from,
Right.
with that aspect, and to your point, like, and I'll go with the caveat. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, like the numbers dwindling and everything, with women. I guess so. My question to you is like,
And men.
and men, 100%. Do you feel right? You're saying it's dwindling, but let's say like I don't blame them, right, for women dwindling in this way, and that's because maybe the amount of damage, influence, and stuff like that has kind of tainted what a quote unquote good woman should be. I said it to my pops flat out. I have never, and I probably will never, ever, ever in my life see a woman like my mom. And again, I probably will never, ever, ever in my life see a woman as great as Mama Fran. And why? It's because it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, be for real. Be for real. What is it that you feel like has caused such a dwindle, right? Because I think there's a reason, but I want you to answer first on that one.
Well, I think it's I think that's something that's really hard to try to compare. Our mothers are grown women
100%.
who have been married for years,
100%.
and we're certainly not. It's not like I like saw a whole ton of it. My parents did a pretty good job of like keeping a lot of whatever happened between them, and kind of not in front of the kids kind of thing. Um, but I guess what I'm insinuating is it's like our moms were 25 once too. You know, they were also 25 once, and I'm sure they went through different phases. I think what I mean, and you know, on one level they are older, but I do think there is something different about nowadays. And that's what I think you're kind of trying to ask me.
Yeah. It's like the
What do I
25-year-old version of our moms.
still probably a little better than most?
That's my
Yeah,
question. And
yeah.
why?
But you know that there's plenty. There's a ton of single women our mom's age too. To be fair, this isn't something that has just recently started. This is something that has started
Progressively happening.
probably since I don't know the 50s or 60s. And there's one thing I do want to say. Men can do a whole lot more damage to women than women can do to men.
All right.
There is an emotional turmoil that comes with being a man and like, losing a woman. But to be honest, it's nothing compared to some of what you see that happens in this world. And honestly, recently I've really thought I've been like honestly, I think a lot of women feel like they see like men in the world today and they say, well, back in the day, we just had to do whatever the hell the men said. That doesn't sound like a great deal. And I'm like, would I feel that differently in their shoes? I mean, different hormones and stuff. But I kind of see what they're saying. I see what they're saying because as much as we drag women for having ridiculous expectations, were you ever really gonna try to marry one of them? You might have to resort to it or whatever. Probably not, but men right now in today's age are super goddamn lazy in my opinion. Super
Bro.
complacent. They don't try to be their best. They don't try to think and inform themselves. They're just taking every day as it comes. And that's not a husband. That's not what I want my children's father
To
to
look
be.
like and be like and all
And
that
so
stuff, 100%.
I think there's this my complete point is I can make these points about women too, being easily manipulated by materialism that's pushed in modern society, and having this idealized version of a man. But like I said, there's all that shit I just said about men too. I think there's currently a negative feedback loop where the men are getting pissed at the women, and the women are getting pissed at the men, and they're both right. And I think what men and women have to do is realize that this is something that a select group of people with a lot of influence want this to happen. They don't want people getting together and having families. They don't want that because that is a bond that is way stronger than them, say, serving their country or, their company or whatever it is. They want men and women to be serving that. So I think there's a balance to it. It looks different when you look at them both individually. I honestly think it equals out because you could pull up all the videos you want of women saying this is my cut list for X and this you can't date me if you do this. Well, a woman really isn't. How many times you see a woman? I will try to be PG and a man and put him in a gravestone. How many times do we see men do that to women? Does it really seem that bad that women are having like ick lists? Like, does it suck? Are they wrong? Yes, but it's not nearly as bad as
Although, the other way, and that's
the other way around. And I guess my ultimate point is the good men. That's a very small percentage of men, but that's the risk women take with men.
Yeah.
So you have to prove that you're not that, and you being a lazy bum is not gonna do a good job of that. So it's on the men and the women to kind of realize this. It's gonna be more so the men, in my opinion, paying attention to this. So guys, lock in. Don't be lazy.
Yeah, and
point the finger at yourself. What can you do better to deserve a better woman?
And this is where I'm gonna go with this, Scotty, right? And to me, it's just like I don't always try to go through the religious path, but like this is for real. It's like going more of that. I guess more of that side. Guy went about the route of men leading in the relationships, men having to take charge, and it's like you said beforehand, if men are leading by being lazy, all women are going to do is just respond with that however they please, however they want to. And it's like it's not
looking past them.
They're just
looking past that population of men.
Exactly. So it's like they're like, oh, okay. So basically, you're not gonna go and do this stuff and step up and do this, 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 and this. It's like there's levels to this shit, and that's what I don't think people get is like, when it comes to overall, oh, I need my woman to do this, this, and this, and this, right? And guys always want to go first and be like, well, what is she gonna do for me? It's like, well, homie, like, what makes you look so tough and valuable? Like, what makes you look like...
What's so special about you?
And this is what I'm saying, right? Like, okay, like, listen, wholeheartedly, right? Like, I like girls. I like my girl. You know what I'm saying? 100%. But, like, I'm being so serious. Like, I look at a dude, I'm like, I see, like, you hairy, you smell like ass, you got to shower constantly, you work out, you grunt, you snore, your shit smell like ass. And it's like we're dudes, you know what I'm saying? Like, women are hot. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we trying to get that. And it's like, guys are just like, yeah, you know what? Like, things like, like porn and all that ish in between, like it's easy availability.
To check out.
A
lot of men check out. Yeah. And one thing I was going to say that is harder for men is things are very tough financially in the world and in America.
It's a hustle.
Harder now than they've been. And the brunt of that falls on the men. The brunt of that does not fall on the women. And their response is to have this materialistic mindset. Honestly, a lot of them don't want to work and they just want to marry some rich guy. And that's, I would say, a woman you really shouldn't be interested in, because that's like that's going to crash and burn. She doesn't love you. She's using you. But a man with money, maybe he can afford that. A woman can, do that, marry, divorce, all that kind of stuff. Men do not have that option. So men feel very lost right now. And that's what their kind of negative cycle is. And then for women, it's just, men are assholes and just marry rich. And, that's a bad way of thinking too. So I forget if I interrupted you, but I did want to include that.
No, no, you hit it right in the nose. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of just where the point that I was going with it too, because it is. I feel like it's gonna be a never-ending thing until somebody like influencers that are those role models in relationships really start showing up. Like I think there was a I don't know if you saw like it was a episode, there was a relationship on TikTok I saw, and it was a girl who does cartwheels on heels, and like
Wow.
she would do random stuff or whatever to like irk her
Sounds like
husband.
she's a gymnast. Oh, okay.
No, no,
She's
no,
like
no, no.
messing with
She
him.
straight up was like she would mess around. They have a whole like movie studio thing and everything, but like she's like she makes content 24/7. It's with her family, and she's always known for like doing random stuff to like shock her husband or whatever. And they looked at them as like the model couple. Guess what? Flip, he cheated on her. Like, and it's like it's shit like that.
Ungrateful man.
Ungrateful man.
Yeah. For some men, it's just there's not enough, and you know they are all instantly gratification hacked, and I think honestly people need to stop looking at influencers, celebrities, and role models. And it's gonna sound weird, but even a podcast, like go find the answers yourself.
Mm-hmm.
People back in the day used to crack open books, talk to people in real life, and
Mm-hmm.
go talk to men and women that are complete strangers. And the art of this kind of thing is completely lost. And it's no wonder people feel lost nowadays because the art of socialization is
Yo,
dying.
it's dying,
Everyone's got
bro.
their faces in their phones. Oh, let me find the answers here where someone can clip and edit everything that I see from them. And then you find out the person cheats. And it's like, oh, they're just two human beings, and there's like a certain percentage chance that they're bad, or flawed. So people gotta really stop doom scrolling and really start, figuring out what the hell they want and how to get it.
Exactly.
Because that's not an easy thing to figure out. You better start now, or else one day you're gonna wake up and you're gonna be depressed.
Yeah,
And there's
and
not
just
going to be
wondering where
much
the
you can do
time went
about it.
and what you got to do and everything in between. Like you're just gonna be falling behind. It's just not good. It's just not good. But Siati, let's take a turn to to another question that I had, and the question
Okay.
was, how do you know? How do you know when to fight for your relationship or just let it go?
That's a tough one.
That is, isn't it? And I
That's
know
one of the
because listen,
hardest.
you and I have both been in that situation.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it's like, you know, deep down in your heart, you're like, this should work. This really should. But then
But you
like
feel that way.
you feel that way. But
Yeah.
damn, bro, it's nothing's working.
Yeah. I
So
think go ahead. What the last piece of it?
so the last piece of it is so overall it's like you may know like and throw everything you can at the wall, but it's like it almost feels as if it has to be
Yeah.
a two-person thing, you know what I'm saying?
I was gonna say, I think when the other person, like you can't. It's almost like I feel like in most breakup stories I hear, there's like always like, especially with the guys, but even the girls say this when they get broken up with, that like it just felt like the past 2 3 months, like they were checking out, and I'm like, honestly, that's when you stop fighting, because there's two reasons you should do that. One, because you'll save yourself time if they don't fight back for you, right? But if you realize that they're checking out and you check out, you maintain a level of self-respect. And also, chasing someone who's checking out is typically just going to drive them away. Showing them that you are okay with this not working and this coming to an end, and not begging on your knees for it to work, I really think is actually, and especially for men, it does work for women too, I would say, but I think especially for men, if it feels like your girlfriend or significant other is checking out, don't wait 2 months for them to break up with you. Just stop. Just stop showing up, and then the conversation will happen then. And you can say, well, it seemed like you were checking out. Well, it's because I feel like we have these problems and stuff, and then
It's
you
like, why
hash it
did you
out.
come to
But
talk to me?
they're also coming to you with a bit of an anxiety because they're saying, there is a secureness that he has where he feels like he can survive this. And if he feels like he could survive losing me, maybe I should stay with him. And it's not a manipulation tactic to say I'm secure by myself. And I think a lot of people conflate that, because the alternative is you're just like fighting a winless battle,
You're
a battle
basically
you're not gonna win.
literally.
If the person starts checking out, check out as well. And if you two are meant to be together, you're gonna both come back together and figure things out. Or if it's not meant to be, you guys are gonna separate, and it'll happen sooner. And it'll be more There will be more humility for both people, more self-respect for both people. That, hey, this is just not working. Hey, I'm not gonna beg you to stay. Yes, I know. I kind of feel like leaving. Or, hey, like I started not doing these things, and you started not doing these things. Why'd you stop doing these things? Now they're asking you. Now they're asking you, and you're showing, hey, I'm just as willing, to step away from this. And maybe they're just testing you is kind of what I'm getting at. Maybe if they're not testing you, they're going to leave anyway. But if they're testing you and that's your response, I think that's the best response you can give. And so that's how when to stop fighting is, when they check out, that's when. Right there. They should always show up for you. What did I say earlier? They should always look at you the same way. The second they stop looking at you like that, something's wrong. The second they stop admiring you.
Mm-hmm. No,
So that's kind of when I think.
So admiring, I think that's a very, very good. That's a very good like outlook on that. I guess for me, what I'm looking more for is like what I was looking at it more is like I feel like when you feel like you're not like on the same team no more in a sense, like you know what I mean. Like to me, it's like not to be like a weird analogy, right? I look at it kind of like two ways. It's kind of like when you go in the game and you're trying to play like a multiplayer game on Madden or whatever, and then you in the lobby, bro, and it keeps still saying connecting because it's waiting for the other person. That's kind of like how I'm looking at it. You know what I mean? I'm talking about like,
You think they're gonna show back up?
no. How I look at it is more like when you sit in there and you go out to go do something, or you go and you stand on business, you say something with your chest, you feel some type of way, you thinking like you put yourself out there, and the worst feeling that you get is like you're like, yeah, she got my back, and you could turn around or you could just feel it inside of you, like she left you on the island.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That it's just like that she is just sitting there just like, yo, you just got left solo dolo. Cause reverse, bro, listen, the guy looks like a slap dick. Asshole that he's like he needs to get his shit fixed. But it's like I'm saying
But you know what? It's respectable.
it's respectable, you know what I'm saying? That I think overall it's like if you ever in your life feel as if you get left on an island, or you're explaining to your person, yo, this is what's going on with me, this is what I'm feeling. And her whole, like, if you are going doing this and her whole mood, energy, feeling is not like, well, what are we going to do, babe? What do you need from me? If it's not like, yo, you out, I'm out. You hurting, I'm hurt. What are we doing? It's like,
what are we gonna do?
Yeah, what are we gonna do? If it's not that, bro, get out.
That's like the romanticized thing in like the movie.
Yes.
And I'm not saying it'll never happen in real life, but it's like when the couple are going through the tough financial thing, and instead of the wife sighing, looking at her husband maybe working at the desk or sitting on the couch, whichever one it is, and just kind of sighing and being like, and being like, already right there, she's doubting him. But when she does that and she says, what are we going to do? And the man goes, I don't know, but we're going to get through it. Like, that's a romanticized idea. But I'm sure actually for every couple and every successful married couple, there was a moment where they weren't sure about the future, and they were worried about what was going to happen to them.
They were hesitant to make that step with him.
What's going to happen to us?
Yes.
What are we going to do? Like, I like how you frame that, because it's definitely true. And you should both be on the same team. You're fighting for us. You're fighting for us being together.
Because I feel like the moment, guy or girl, the moment you hesitate, like, and the moment you leave your partner hang to dry, like, there's going to be worse situations out there. Like, there's going to be harder situations. And if you can't go, right, if you had a family party, for example, and your partner getting shat on, and you can't step and be like, yo,
You can't stand up for them.
yeah, and you can't stand up for them. You can't be like, yo, get they dick out your mouth, like on some real shit. And like this is me being for real with that. Like if you can't go help your partner, you go at the bar, right, or whatever the case is, and all of a sudden like your girl got into an altercation or whatever, some dude's trying to mac with her, and all of a sudden he's like, hey yo, I think you fine, grab her. If you don't knock him the fuck out, I don't know what you're doing. If your
but she should also push that away.
Exactly. If your girl that's what I'm saying. If she goes and pushes it away, right? And he's still trying and still
you got no chance, buddy.
Yeah, you got no chance, bro. And he's just like, the fuck, and he wants to do something with you, or she says no and he still tries it. Then at that point, it's
then you step in.
Then it's like, all right, you done. You done, my boy.
Yeah.
Like, and that's it. And that's what I'm saying. It's just like that concept. I feel like of looking out for each other. That team aspect is just so.
You should both know what's good for you guys.
Exactly.
In every situation, and you should both be on the same wavelength. It seems like that's what you're kind of saying. You know, whenever something happens, you guys should share the reaction.
But don't you feel like there's times? Don't you feel like there's times where we may not be on the same wavelength, and I do something that may piss you off, or that you do something vice versa that could piss me off.
We're not dating, by the way.
I know we're not. We're not dating, Chad, by the way, just to let you know. But I'm saying like, for example, like, yeah, my girl did something that pissed me off, but she could have thought to herself, like, babe, I didn't think that would have pissed you off. Or vice versa, if I were to go do something, right? And I get like me, right? Like I'm like, my girl's not in the same culture as me. So we definitely may have different outlooks of what's okay and what's not.
Right.
So it's like
that's what communication's for.
Exactly.
That's
communication.
Anytime you're not on the same wavelength, which is going to happen, that's simply when you just both have to express your views, and sometimes neither of you are right, sometimes both of you are right, and sometimes one of you is right. And being able to both recognize when, okay, yeah, you kind of have a point, or all right, I kind of feel like you got to understand what I'm saying here, or I think we both have good points and we got to compromise, or we're both being dumbasses.
Yeah.
Right now about this. We're both overreacting. All those situations will happen. And, being able to both be on the both of you, however you approach it, you should both be working towards, we're going to figure this out.
Exactly. Like not attacking each other, just attacking the problem.
Yeah.
And that's kind of
you and I, it was funny that you said that, because you and I studying at school and just, being through all the stuff we went through, there were situations where you and I did not see eye to eye, but I think we always trusted each other because we were both just trying to win.
Exactly that.
We were both just trying to succeed, and it was always about what's the best path to success. That is a healthy argument in a relationship of any kind, between two friends, between business partners, and between a relationship. What's the best path of success for us? If you guys are arguing about that, there are much worse things, to argue about. That's a good sign.
That is a good sign to be like, how can we get there and stuff like that. And
like that, am I the asshole? The guy's like, I'm going to be either happy with some risk or, stability. That's a real argument. There's real points on both sides. It's just, maybe two aren't meant for each other, or stick it out.
For sure. And to your point with that, right? Like going into that, the concept of outside noise also sometimes tries to play a factor. And back to us beforehand, we had tremendous time, a huge amount of times where we weren't on the same page. And guess what? Outside noise had tried to start shit all the freaking time. And it was one of those things where you and I were always just like, hey, yo, they don't get it. No. We're here. And I feel like, yes, we're both guys, but in a relationship also too, it's just like that concept of outside noise that hey, your girls are going to talk crazy. Oh, your guys are going to be like, you ain't got to deal with that shit. It's like, nobody's in your relationship. Nobody really knows how the fuck that shit works. So it's like, as long as you understand that and you just attack the problem, not each other, everything is going to be squared away 90% of the time, you know what I mean? And that's the reason why I asked you the question though, was because there's going to be things, right, where you go into the public and you may have never communicated it because you had no knowledge of what the freak was about to go down. And then shit goes down. Then you're like, hey, freaking yo.
You're like,
You know what I'm saying? And
That's
it's like,
true.
how do you like? You can't really like. It's hard to communicate
You're
that on the
trying
spot.
to sometimes you're trying to read what your partner's doing so that you can kind of react the same way. And you're
Exactly.
both just sitting there like, what do you think about this? And you're saying it to each other with your eyes. You know. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're in that
It's
awkward situation, but I find those moments to be funny because I've definitely been in those.
they are funny.
They are kind of funny because you stare at the person, you're just like, they never talked about this shit, did they? Nope, not at all. Like, so, yep, it'd be like that though. It'd be like that. Scotty, let's go. Let's dive into this last question, man, because this is going too good. This is going too good. So for me, it is: do you think everything happening for a reason is just a line for people to say like things happen for a reason, God's plan, all this stuff in between? Do you feel like that is just a line people use for comfortability?
Okay, so short answer, because there's kind of two questions here. Short answer, yes. I think there's definitely people who aren't really thinking about it, and then they just say, well, everything happens for a reason, so it's just going to be fun. I think that's a complacent mindset. But then I think there's an element of, do things all happen for a reason? Is that actually true? Because there's a difference between just justifying something with it and it actually being true. So short answer to that first part, yes, I absolutely think people just kind of use it as a coping mechanism, because it's hard, especially nowadays, to accept some things as true, as just, oh, we're gonna say that happens for a reason. It pushes people towards the question of like God and all that kind of stuff. But I'm going to try to answer it independent of, as much independently as God and science as I can, and try to kind of come at it from like just maybe a philosophical standpoint. I don't know. I'm going to try to answer it. Does everything happen for a reason? It is one of the all-time hardest questions to answer.
It is. So I picked it.
Because you can go back and forth. If it's happening to you, I'm going to say not everything. Honestly. Now, and I'm literally here in my head going back and forth arguing with myself from two sides, because it's so hard to believe. This is why. It's really hard to believe that terrible things happen to good people for a reason. But I will give you an example. Let's say a young child is terminally ill, right? Young child, everybody wants a young child to live. Young child passes away, right? And there's other bad things that can happen, that are similar to that people would say, there's no good reason this could have happened. Right, because we assume, if things are there for a reason, that it's for a good reason, right? The order is structured there for a good reason. But I think it's not quite that simple, because then you could say, well, maybe that young child had a brother or a sister, sibling, cousin, close friend. If that person then says, I never want anyone else to feel this way ever again. And then goes on to be a doctor and wins a Nobel Prize for curing cancer. Well, that's your reason. And it's really hard to accept that. I think you're like, well, then doesn't that make the kid like expendable? His life meant nothing? No, his life did not mean nothing, because he inspired someone to help people. And if people never got hurt, there wouldn't be a whole lot of people going around trying to help people, So I know I literally started this off by saying that not everything, but I actually do think you could kind of put a spin on everything and say, yeah, because when sometimes there is no brother to get to turn into a doctor, but if you're very, very angry about, something terrible happening, you're going to make damn sure that never happens again. And if it happened on a large scale, now a large population is going to make sure that never happens ever again. So I actually do kind of think everything happens for a reason. it's just people quite often get tunnel vision and, you know, are only really seeing it from a perspective of themselves. And it's not their fault. It's a really, really tough thing to swallow. Um, and you know, I'm sure there's someone in the comments who might say, "Well, I could think of this," and I'm like, "Well, you don't know everything that happened in the world. You don't know every person that person knew X, Y, and Z." So,
Hmm.
but that's kind of how I would say, yeah, when bad things happen, it makes people want to be more good, and kind of like a Star Wars thing. So,
Yeah.
um, and religion is kind of the same way. It's always been a battle of good and evil. You can't have one without the other. So,
No,
yeah,
100%.
I
And
guess I guess everything happens for a reason.
the word that clicked for me that you said was perspective. And I think that's what I feel like a lot of people miss when it comes to when good things happen, when bad things happen to them. And it's the perspective and how you look at things and how it should be. Like, to your example of like the kid that's sick and everything, like, um, yeah, like I always looked at it like God puts people onto this planet for like a specific reason. Like he only knows the reason why he does those things, right? And it's like you said, got ill, would have passed away, but caused inspiration for somebody to do something. And I feel like that's one thing that people just have a hard time nowadays is looking at it from a different lens. That it's like the first thing that people go to is like the easy route, the anger, the sadness. Of course, you're gonna be sad because of loss and everything, but um, you know, I guess you could look at it too. Like, what about those times that that kid may have caused happiness for their parents or whatever that was being in their life for the short amount of time, understanding what it was like to have a kid. Now, like, sadly, they know what it's like to lose one,
Right.
but now, like, their kid was the inspiration for somebody to cause greatness. And I know this is just like a random example, but um, there's always a cause and effect. The butterfly effect, I think, is what the
Yep.
the term is. But and that's kind of why it's always been just like interesting whenever like when I told you when I came to school with you and everything, and then they told me I had to be here for an extra year and everything like that. If I wasn't there for that extra year, I wouldn't have graduated with you. I would have left a year early. You know what I'm saying? If I would have left a year early,
Yeah.
could I get the job that I have now? You know what I mean? Could I go and meet all the people that I've done so far, I've met so far and everything? Like, it's like you really like ponder to yourself, like, what if? And it's like, this is the path that I chose, but that I choose it, was it already made for me? Was have like, and that's kind of where it's like it's interesting, the concept of free will and how,
Yeah.
oh, we had the right to choose everything that we're supposed to do, whatever. But it's like we also know that like the multi-universe theory, like there's different possibilities for everything. There could be a universe where I'm cracked out under a bridge, like, but
Yeah.
this is the universe that I'm in where we get to do ish like this. I'm truly grateful for it, and it's like I just wish people had that kind of more mindset of like perspective and understand that, hey, something happened. Because at a young age, I was that. I was always like, oh my god, you got me messed up, losing it. I always just went straight to the anger, 100%. But now, like, you
Yeah.
sit back, you think like, yo, so why did that happen? What
To
what
show you truth.
exactly, like, what's the truth behind this? Like, where is the light behind this message? Like,
Yeah. And it was like I said, I don't think a whole lot of people would want to be good or extra good if there wasn't bad to combat it with. You know? That's just how it is. You know, people want to be good to suppress bad. People want to fight evil, and so they are good. And if there was no evil and there was no tragedy, people wouldn't want miracles. People wouldn't want to push for miracles. And for myself, it was like I was destroyed when I had not one, but two shoulder surgeries between being uh, a freshman in high school, midway through my freshman year of high school, that the recovery process for the two of them together, I blew it out immediately after my first recovery, was all the way through to my sophomore year. And I was so into sports. And you remember at school, I would never shut up about this. I would never shut up about it. And it was really hard for me to understand in high school why it was like necessary if I were to ask myself that type of question. But then I mentioned I had to make an extremely hard choice to pursue something I loved, um, and give wrestling a shot, which I couldn't do all throughout high school,
Mm-hmm.
dealing with that. And then I proved myself and gained confidence from that. If none of that ever happened, I don't know that I ever would, like, when am I going to face that huge adversity? It would be in college and I would have nothing to compare it to.
Mm-hmm.
So, on your own personal level, there is, going through adversity, you can't expect to go through life without adversity. So,
Exactly.
you gotta, that's how you grow. So, yeah, great question. And I think you and I definitely seem to have I think we're on the same wavelength about how we feel about it. But yeah, do you have anything else to say about that? It sounded like I definitely cut you off again.
No, 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 you're good. As far as when it just comes to, how do I say, what's it called? Everything coming easy in life. I think that's what kind of agitated me about. I guess you could say, not really agitated me. It always gave me like that chip on my shoulder when it came to just everything in life because, like, not to give it a day because we're doing it right now, right? Like everybody wants to do social media. Everybody wants to
Yeah.
do a lot of the easy things to just make the money. They look at the stuff, they say, Lambo, millions of dollars, that's what I want. But it's like, I remember when I used to watch WWE, I still watch it here and there, but Triple H said it. He was just like, everybody, what's it called? Everybody wants you to be the good guy. He was talking to Seth Rollins, oh, you want to be the good guy, but at the end of the day, no one's gonna care, right? Because you don't make it and you don't do this. You know who people hate? The people that do make it, the people that got everything they wanted. And he's like,
Yeah.
I would rather eat well and live well and then sleep well. I would rather do what's it called? All this stuff in between to get what I want to be and do what I want to do, instead of being like, let me make everybody happy, just being complacent. And it's like that always stayed in my mind of understanding that it's like you gotta have the people like around you that are about that same mindset overall. You know what I mean? That same goal to want to achieve that. Because if not, it's like, who are you? Like eagles don't fly the same height as pigeons. Like Ray Lewis said that shit. Like, and it's facts. Like, so it's like, what are we gonna do here? You know what I mean? You gotta surround yourself with the right people, but you also gotta have the same mindset and taking care of yourself and learning. I think people have a hard time doing that. They just want to throw shit out there and see what
Yeah,
sticks.
regurgitate.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But not actually sitting here and like reading stuff. Bro,
Everything's
Graham sent me a book. I don't even know when this dude started reading, bro. He
You
sent me a
said, because you
book out
said
of
neither of you
nowhere.
two read like a whole lot individually. I tried reading in college and stopped because my brain wasn't ready for it. Recently, I actually acquired a very large book that I intend to read and take notes on, because I think it's I'm really starting to see how it's better
It
than
helps.
social media, just because it helps your brain stop wanting everything everywhere all at once immediately. You
Organizing
know,
your brain, trying to really
because
puzzle stuff to just stop
this
filling it with dumb shit.
this is the matrix. This is
Yes.
this is bullshit. Like you're really not, at least long form content, you can organize information. The scrolling, everything went wrong when we got like Musically. That was
Yes.
what TikTok was originally called. I mean, you can even argue Vine was the same way, but I at least thought because of the 6 second limit, you had to be creative.
Yes.
But since Musically came out, the world has gone to shit. No, just kidding. It's always had major problems, but from the social media standpoint, I really feel like things got super toxic there. So, short form content is like, it's a good way to advertise long form content. I think there's not many other great purposes for it. And it's not good to consume. So when I make YouTube shorts, please do not call me a hypocrite, even though it's kind of true. It's advertising my long form content.
Exactly that. Exactly that. We use it for the right reasons. We use it for the right reasons. Because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't lie to you. Like, it is crazy how long you can get caught just scrolling and your
Yeah.
brain's just taking shit in. nonstop, but it's like your attention span is so short.
Cool.
It's cooked.
But people are so capable. This is the thing. People are dumber now than they were because we used to have to memorize everything you knew.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's just all at your fingertips. But on the other hand, you don't have to memorize anything. And if your comprehension skills are practiced and you actually are trying, all the information in the world that could potentially be lies is still at least available to you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can actually be way smarter than many people back then, but very few people will try to do that, including myself. You know, I'm not trying to be the next Albert Einstein or anything, you know?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to pursue my passion.
Exactly.
Use the internet to pursue your passion. That has been my major thing for people. Be a creator. Be a creative person. You are passionate about something. There's an audience for you out there. And the way for you to get to them is through the internet. Mm-hmm. Get inspiration of how you want to do it and then go do it.
Exactly.
You know, that's the path forward, I would say, for a lot of people, because you can even do it as a side hustle. I'm doing this with a full-time job and an hour commute each way. Yep. So, like, in my eyes, there's not an excuse for a lot of other people. So, for sure. I am single though, so that definitely helps.
So, ladies, listen. If you want some scooter, listen. Let him know. Shoot the messages. I'm gonna put his channel into the description, guys. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my guy, bro. He is him. He does what he's gotta do. He's a hustler. He stays consistent, bro. That is my guy since day one. So make sure you show him love. Make sure you show him the respect that he deserves, guys. Guys, listen. Sorry to cut you off, Scotty, but
thanks, dude.
Anytime, brother. So, my dudes, this is the end of the episode. Okay, this is what we do. Scotty,
we'll have to do another one.
We're going to do another one. Everyone been telling me that shit, bro. I'm telling you. We're going to do a round 2. Don't even stress about it. But my dudes, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Show your mama, show your daddy. Make sure you subscribe to DAT1DUDE. We're just going to keep doing this, guys. I'm trying to go and change the atmosphere, how the conversations work and how we do this stuff. This is what it should be. Chatting, good times. I forgot my cold one, but don't stress. It'll be in the next episode. So, guys, appreciate you guys for showing up. Appreciate you guys for showing out. And, guys, I'm going to catch you guys in the next one.
This is how I move. I don't never lose. I don't pick and choose. You can make the news. Get the eyes of ooze. Whip it fast to the dash.